Luke Oscar Liddon, why are you hiding up in the house when it's such a beautiful day outside? I groan as I roll over. Why did I ever think that giving my mother a key to my house was a good idea? Because I started being useless at taking care of myself, I guess. I'm curled on the sofa under my duvet, curtains drawn to shut out the sun, TV on playing the news. I'm not watching it. I'm just staring into the distance, thinking. I do a lot more of that these days. I don't really understand why, because it hurts so much. But then again, I have a lot more time to, and a lot more to think about. But maybe if I'd stopped to think a little before, I wouldn't be in such a bad place now. Get your ass off the couch and do something good for yourself for once. Stop acting all morose in here and open the curtains. Go for a walk, get some fresh air, clear your head, and spend some time with people. Lord, it might make you a bit more sociable, Luke. I grumble back at her, yelping as she pulls the duvet away like she stabbed me. Mum, just stop. I know how to look after myself, and I don't need you barging in here telling me what to do. I moved out to be independent, not to have you rushing in every few minutes and nosing about my business. She just laughed, flinging the curtains wide open and making me cover my face and groan again, burying my head into the sofa arm. I'm not even dressed. Get up, get dressed, and get off to one of your friends' houses within the next 10 minutes, or I'm dressing you like a toddler and taking you to their doorstep myself. She strides from the room, humming softly to herself. I'd really like to reverse these positions right now and see her reaction to this, but she would never let herself end up like I have. Liz Liddon is a go-getter who stops for nothing and no one. I wish that I had more of her spirit. I sit up straight on the couch cushions, losing my balance and toppling sideways onto the floor, taking the cushion with me. Ela whines on the other end of the sofa and sticks her nose over the edge, but doesn't bother to look far enough to check if I'm actually okay. Typical Ela. My legs now ache, and so do my sides, but I'll live. I stand, legs jelly as the blood rushes back into them. Guess who hasn't moved for over a day? I'm more worried about what will happen to me if I'm not gone in 5 minutes and my mum gets a hold of me, though, so I stumble forwards, leaning on the banister on the way up the stairs. I throw on the shirt, leaving unbuttoned to up on the way down the stairs, and struggle into a pair of leather trousers before grabbing a pair of socks and boots and rushing back downstairs. I have 2 minutes. I use those 2 minutes to pull on my socks and boots, grab a loaf of bread from the kitchen, and to rush back up the stairs to check on the rose. I'm in such a rush that I nearly knock it over, catching it just in time with shaking hands, my breath misting the glass so that I can't see my face. If that had dropped, I don't know what I would have done. Luke, get yourself out of this house or you're getting in my car. I give it one last glance, still breathing a little erratically. What if something happens while I'm out? I shake my head to rid myself of the thought. It's a rose, for Pete's sake. It can't even move by itself, Luke. I go back downstairs, grabbing my keys and a random jacket off of the pegs by the door. I pause at the 3 empty pegs next to mine, eyes locked onto them. One lone jacket of hers remains, the cream one, her favourite. I strike a hand down its soft velvet, breathing in and out once, before dropping my arm. The loaf of bread is still in my other hand, but it's not until I get out of the door that I realise I should have taken just a few slices out of it instead of taking the whole thing. I got too distracted. I've got to stop doing that. The door shuts behind me, and I take a deep breath, suddenly remembering why I was curled up in the dark. Daylight stings when your mind's in darkness, and the sun is shining so brightly today. I squint my eyes against it, finding it difficult to see and fighting rising panic. Sometimes being outside is all I want. Other times it's the very last thing. I wake up not knowing if it's going to be a sunshine or a darkness day. On good days, sunshine days, I'll get up and get dressed, make some breakfast, maybe go out to the cafe for it or for a coffee, meet a friend there, look for a job. On bad days, I stay half dressed until it's good day again. I stay in bed or on the couch all day, not moving. My thoughts constantly aggravate me, and I can't deal with it. So I just go back inside my brain, back into my shell. I shut out the world and pretend that I don't have to deal with it. In reality, I know I have to, and it's just going to get worse. It's like shoving a ball onto the surface of a swimming pool. It will resurface with power before it's too long. Everyone has their ups and downs. That's what they say. Me? I'm in the rut. For good. My down is permanent. I reach a street corner I don't recognise and realise that I've gone the wrong way. I was so caught up in my thoughts that I ended up just walking and ending up God knows where. But then I realised I've just turned the wrong way out from that gate. I'll just go the long way around the block to Addie's. I dig my hand into the bag of bread, taking a bite from the first piece and realising just how famished I am. 20 minutes later, I'm stood at the bottom of his garden path, hair still messy and half a loaf of bread in one hand. He opens the door, grinning when he sees me. Your mum called, said you might be on your way. I've got a beer and popcorn, mate, and a comfy sofa with lots of cushions. He grins wider, if it's possible. I half smile back, so grateful for him. Always so grateful. Addie by far has been the most helpful person to me. Always there for me, just being a normal mate and having a beer with me, inviting me over for a game on the Xbox and the mess about, sending me photos of cute dogs he's met on his walks that he thinks Ela might like, keeping me up to date on the stupid stuff, like how many pizzas Tommy's consumed this week, or how many girls Isaac's found, even if I've already seen him posting pictures. The everyday stuff that I miss with everyone else. And then, at the same time, if I want to talk, or not talk, but just be hugged or cry, he's good with that too. It's never awkward with Addie, just nice and homely and normal. I love that. Nice loaf of bread. He indicates the clear packaging, gripped tightly in my hand, chuckling, and I laugh, swapping hands to allow the other to cool down. I was gripping it so tightly and my hand had gone sweaty, some of it still on the plastic. Ugh. Inside the house, it's cool and calm, so different to my own house, where it's always dimly lit and stuffy. It used to be full of colour and light, but Bailey took all of that with her. I feel my stomach blanch at the thought that I just thought about her name so easily. The muscle in my arm contracts, and I stop walking beside the coffee table in the living room, dropping the bread onto it and just staring sightlessly at it. I'm beside the sofa, but I don't sit down. Mate, Andy stops in the doorway, a packet of popcorn clutched in his hand, the other two balancing two glasses, eyes on me, my eyes focused on the bread, but not really. My mind is elsewhere, and it took all of my senses with it. A bright day, sun shining, just like today. Bailey, outside, sat on the grass, stringing together a daisy chain and humming a tune softly to herself. I can hear it going round and round inside my head. Bailey, come over here. She shakes her head, still humming to herself, eyes intent on her work and hair spilling down her back like a soft waterfall. Bales, come on. She shakes her head again, laughing, and I stand up from my chair just inside the doorway, sheltering my eyes against the sun. The stanza I'd been trying to write sits, unfinished, on the table. Bailey, I just want your help with a few details. She looks up, eyes shining. All I'm thinking about is daisies. You don't want that in your poem. What do daisies make you think of? I settle beside her, plucking a daisy from the ground and placing it in her hands. She smiles and thanks, adding it to the end of the chain while I pick another. Prettiness, and summer days and sunshine, and love. She takes another from me, still smiling, always smiling. Love? Love. No one gives daisies any attention because they think that they're not pretty, but I think they're one of the prettiest flowers. After the rose, of course. The oldest traditions die hard. I nod slowly, eyes on the green grass, her face in my head, until she clears her throat and I quickly pick another, putting it into her hand, making her laugh. Dopey dingbat, you were miles away. No, I was thinking about you. I was closer than you could ever imagine. She blushes and I smile. She's so beautiful when she's embarrassed. Put that down and give me some attention. Am I your slave daisy picker or your boyfriend? She pauses, pretending to think for a moment, before dropping the daisy in the grass and shifting over onto my lap, where I wrap my arms around her, breathing in her scent and stroking her hair. You're so beautiful, Bailey. She blushes again, pulling closer and burying her head into my shoulder, and I smile softly, so grateful for her and her love. How did I get so lucky? Luke, mate. I feel a hand on my shoulder, snapping me back into reality and shaking it off. But I'm not strong enough, and tears are pouring down my cheeks. I'm so fragile right now that one touch from a fingertip could shatter me into a million pieces. I always thought that I was the strong one, she was the delicate one, but I was so wrong. She was always the strong one. Addie guides me down to the sofa behind me, wrapping a strong arm around my shoulders and speaking quietly. It's okay to cry sometimes, mate. Just let it go. And I do. I lean into him just as Bailey did to me that sunny day, and I let the tears fall freely. I sob when I sob. My shoulders shake and my eyes are raw. My mind feels so full of emotion, yet so stripped clean that I'm exhausted, and yet I carry on crying. I can't stop. I don't think I'll ever stop crying over her.